The first one is from a contest like this, where I was actually mentoring a contestant. Now, long story short, this contestant fails to turn up the last minute at the contest. Now, those were the days when we had physical contests, right? So I was waiting, pacing across the corridor, waiting for that contestant to come. I have worked hard enough in ensuring that the contestant is well prepared for the contest. But unfortunately, for whatever reason best known to the contestant and not me at that point in time, the contestant does not turn up. I'm sitting there when the contest began, frustrated, irritated, and devastated because all my effort, all my hard work, all my energies were wasted, and the contestant did not even show up for the contest. Contest got over, I was least interested, and then when I was ready to go out of the contest, I got a call. That was an answer to all those n number of calls which I had made to the contestant, and this time the contestant is calling me. I pick up the phone very rudely. I ask, "What's the matter now? Why did even the contestant bother to return my call now when everything is over?" The next 3 minutes, when the contestant spoke to me, I was shattered, more devastated than during the contest. Why? Because the contestant shared that his mother in law met with a major accident, and the contestant had to be there. And now the contestant is telling me that his mother in law passed away. In that 40 minutes, the mother in law passed away. Now I'm sitting there listening to this particular piece from the contestant and cursing myself as to how did I judge the contestant without even giving one thought about their position or his position. Now, why am I giving you this story is for driving this message to you. Always listen to both sides of the story before judging anybody. And I think that is the first lesson in conflict management, isn't it? Conflicts happen only when I look at it from my perspective and fail to recognize the other person's perspective. And I think that episode in Toastmasters taught me that no matter what your perspective is, there is an equal and equally genuine perspective from the opposite person as well. And all you can do is to be careful, be patient to look at both the perspectives. So that's one return on investment in leadership. And ever since, I have tried my best. I have tried my best to be patient and to look at the other perspective. Story number two for you is my very own CC4. I was a speech crafter. Some of you who know me and my journey already knows that I came into Toastmasters because of speechcraft. And when I came into speechcraft, the incentive which they told me was that you don't have to repeat your project. You can continue from where you begin or where you have completed in speechcraft. So I come in at CC4 and I had to give my CC4 speech. And when I gave that speech, my evaluator very bluntly recommends me to repeat the speech. And his judgment was that did not meet the objectives of the speech. I don't know how many of you remember the olden program of Toastmasters, the education program, competent communication. And that top CC4 is about similes and metaphors and playing with words and all that. Now, when that person recommended me to actually repeat, I could not help but blame that person and say that, you know what, why are you even asking me to repeat this? It is my speech and I have done it and I'm not going to repeat it. I actually did the speech in spite of having done that at Speechcraft is only because I wanted to start from CC4 and then go forward. But now you're asking me to repeat and not go to CC5, CC6, and all that drama unfolded in my mind and also outside. But later, it's only later when my mentor spoke to me and told me that why it is very important that you do any speech, you meet the objectives, you meet the particular requirement. And that's where I want to talk to you about the second point, which is another return on investment when it comes to Toastmasters, is taking ownership, taking responsibilities. When my evaluator told me to repeat, I was blaming the person. I was not taking responsibility. I didn't even bother about seeing whether I actually met the objectives or not. All I was bothered about is blaming somebody. And I think that is the second thing which I want to talk about when it comes to leadership is take responsibilities. You are never perfect all the time. And if you own up you will be closing towards perfection. That's the second thing which I could tell you. Third, and the last thing which I want to tell you when it comes to return on investment in leadership is my own speechcraft story. Not about my journey in speechcraft, but when I was a club member, an executive committee member, and I was the president, our club was not doing very well when it comes to its reserves, finances. So we all came up with an idea of organizing the speechcraft and doing some fundraising. And we took an ambitious target of having 50 people enrolled for speechcraft. And the idea was that we will raise enough and more funds for the club so that it can sustain happily for the next 2 to 3 years. And when we started on that, I realized how hard it was to get one registration for speechcraft. At that time, if I remember right, we were pricing it at 5,000 rupees for a 8 session speechcraft, and getting people to register was very tough. But let me tell you this, we succeeded. We succeeded in getting 46 registrations. We did not get 50, we got 46. But I'll tell you, we were 22 members in our club, and each and every one of them contributed to getting that 46 registrations. And more importantly, some of the other members of other clubs, like other community clubs in Hyderabad, they helped in getting people registered for it. And that's the third lesson which I learned when it comes to Toastmasters is any success, any success belongs to the entire team and to the institution, not you. You might be the person who will be there, a part of the team, but any success belongs to the entire team and institution. And if you approach your work with this attitude, I don't think you can ever fail, because this attitude is what drives everybody to contribute. So that's the piece I want to talk to you about when it comes to 3 simple lessons from my own journey when it comes to return on investment. First, as I said, it's always about looking at both sides of the story. That's another one important lesson. Second is owning up, taking responsibility. And third is any success and every success belongs to the institution and to the team, not just you. It's not you who's giving the success. It is you who's part of the success, and everybody has equal stake in that success. So this is, in a nutshell, return on investment from Toastmasters. I learned this and I'm implementing it, applying it almost daily basis in my workplace as a CEO, as a mentor, as a startup entrepreneur, or whatever you want to call me. But then the idea here is take these lessons and then put it. Now that covers the first piece. Let's quickly move to the second piece. The second piece is about I, as an individual, what is my return on investment from Toastmasters? I'm spending money, I'm spending my time, I'm spending my energy, I'm doing a lot of things, but what am I gaining out of this? Is it the trophy at the end of the contest? Is it the certificate? Is it that speech time or stage time which I get on the stage in front of people? And these days with COVID, the stage time is nothing but your Zoom time, right? So what is that I'm going to get out of it? Again, I want to tell you a few things from my own personal experience. Many people must have heard of my CSK Speaks initiative, and many people must have visited my work on social media. If you have ever been to my YouTube channel, I do 3 videos every week on various different topics and equally ranging from 18 to 20 minutes on an average. Okay. Now, why am I sharing you about my YouTube channel journey? Is not because I want to tell you about my YouTube. What I want to tell you is, how do I get the content to talk in front of a YouTube video or for a YouTube video? It is because of my years of experience in giving speeches, listening to speeches, evaluating speeches, learning from people at Toastmasters. I learn, I gather, I understand, I interpret, I write, I create my own content, and then I go. And then the variety. One day I'm talking about personal finance, the other day I'm talking about career management, the other day I'm talking about parenting. Variety. The variety comes from this particular exposure. I'm a Toastmaster for the last 9 years, and I don't think I will ever get bored of it, and I will ever get enough of it. So return on investment is the way you can build your speeches, the way you can write content, the way you can think about it. Now, these are intangible things, but it is happening in your brain. You don't get a measure or a handle on it, but you know deep inside something is happening. And that's one example of what is a return on investment on Toastmasters as an individual. Now, some of you may ask, okay, that is all intangible. Give me a tangible experience give me a concrete example. I think the concrete example is nothing can be more concrete than money, isn't it? So let me talk to you about the money you can actually attract through your learning and experience and investment in Toastmasters. Now, hear this carefully. I started doing Young Orators Program, YOP. I started doing Young Orators Program in the pre-COVID days, where I targeted around 14 years to 18 years, because I knew very well that Toastmasters starts from 18, and 14 to 18 is the time where they need to be prepared to get into Toastmasters. So it started off as a dream to, one, get them into Toastmasters, because I felt that people should definitely be a part of Toastmasters at least for 3 to 5 years of their initial part of their careers. But it also created a revenue stream for my company when I said that, okay, I'm going to create a program called YOP and it will be offered for students. I did, I think, 14, 15 batches of around 12 to 15 students each for few years, maybe 2.5 years pre-COVID. Now, thanks to COVID, I was forced to reinvent. I created all those programs online, made video modules, and I have a course. Today, I'm telling you, today, there are more than 3,900 students who have taken up that particular course sitting across the country and sometimes even across the world. Now, all this is translating to money. All this is translating to money. But where did the content come from? Where did the knowledge come from? Where did the experience come from? It came from my very own Toastmasters journey, right? I was able to create copyrighted content of CSK Speaks for my own, only because of my examples, my experiences, and my own journey in Toastmasters. Now, it cannot get as more concrete than this, isn't it? So you can do it. I know some of you have already reached out to me as to how to leverage your content. I have a program where I coach people on how you can make your content. Like, for example, one of them was talking about how can I use storytelling in sales, one of your own current division leaders. So I said, forget about anything. Put everything what you have in one particular place and then try to start talking and say that, okay, for this next 1 year, I will do pro bono. Go and talk to people, give lectures, give stories, help people, and when you keep putting your content out, that's when people will start coming to you. And then you put on the monetization part where you can say, okay, I'll do this. That's a different ball game. But you're talking ROI, right? Return on investment. Return on investment is both in terms of name, in terms of fame, in terms of money. So you will get all of that if you can go with a step-by-step approach. So people can monetize, can leverage, can get things. Today, if I am getting invited to multiple other places as a keynote speaker, it did not happen overnight. It happens only because you have content. And we all know in Toastmasters, content is the king. We all know that it is the ability to connect with people. It is the ability to place music with the emotional strands of the hearts of your audience. It is the ability to respect your audience. And when you do all of that, people will start respecting you and inviting you and want to learn from you and want to engage with you, and they want to take it forward. So I think these are, in a nutshell, simple examples which I can give from my own personal life about Toastmasters. But let me tell you this, the biggest benefit I got out of Toastmasters is a value system. Is a value system. Is a value system to recognize the main thing as the main thing. And when I say that, I'll give you an example. I might charge anything to people outside of Toastmasters or outside of Young Indians, because these are the two organizations which made me who I am in the last 1 decade. So I made a very conscious call that when it comes to Toastmasters, when it comes to Young Indians, I'm not going to say no for any invitation if at all my schedule permits me. Number one. Number two, I'm also not going to charge a single rupee. Why? It is my value system to give back to the system which made me. Now, what am I trying to tell you is ROI is never always measured with only name, fame, and money. ROI is measured by what you become in the end. So Toastmasters gave me that value system of putting the main thing, the main thing. For me, it is about what I gained and how I can give back to the system and apply it in my daily life, whether it is time management, whether it is respecting people, whether it is being sure and being certain about what you want and what you don't want and saying no. and most importantly, whether it is pursuing for excellence. These are the things which create you as a person. And towards the end, if I want to say one line and conclude my speech, I want to conclude by saying, remember this: how you do anything is how you do everything. The way you eat, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you behave with people is a reflection of your personality, is a reflection of your value system, is a reflection of the individual you are. Now, don't think, okay, on stage, I'm going to be something, off stage, I'm going to be something. Nobody's watching me, right? No. How you do anything is how you do everything. Thank you so much for your patient listening. I hope you will get more ROI than me in Toastmasters, but I want you to continue to give your best. Thank you so much.